Okay, what I'm going to talk today about is about a new program that we are trying to develop. We call it Brain Healing First Aid. And the idea behind Brain Healing First Aid started something like 4 years ago with a group of colleagues discussing about the deficits that we already have in terms of addiction treatment across the world. And I'm going to tell you the story and what we have tried to accomplish together. You cannot see their faces really good, but there have been many people who have been contributing to develop the program, including people like Brad Collins from HEAL 1212 and different centers and research centers that are already contributing to the program. I should acknowledge their supports, and without their supports it was not possible to go to this level till now. But what is the target of the program? Okay, we know that people who are experiencing drug use disorder, they have several brain deficits. And the question is that what are the major major brain deficits that people would experience when they are kind of entering to the addiction treatment centers? What are the major challenges that they have? What are the major problems that they have?
Attention.
They have problems in their attention. What are the other problems that they have?
Memory.
They have problems in their memory. What else?
Thinking.
Their thinking process is not as clear as it's supposed to be. What else?
Emotions.
They have problems with their emotions. What else?
Yeah, the impulse.
Their impulses, how they might be able to control their impulses as well. What else? What are the other? They have problems in their judgments. That's true. So they have problems with their emotions. They feel anhedonia, they feel fatigue, they have lots of problems with their emotions. They have a detachment from reality. They have hallucination, they have paranoid delusions, and all those things would also be related to their brain functions. They have problems in their social interactions, and they have challenges for learning and memory and attention and all those brain functions. So we know that there are many deficits related to drug use among those who are suffering from drug use disorder. And we know that education is an important part of recovery. And as we are discussing about addiction as a brain disorder, then the question is how much our education is brain related. How much of the education that we are already providing for people who are in the recovery is based on our knowledge about brain? How much information we provide for people who are in the recovery about their brain and the deficits that their brain have and how they might be able to help their brain to recover, okay? We know that in areas like diabetes, there are many materials outside for education. And we know that nobody can recover from diabetes without having lots of information and receiving many educational kind of resources. Because you need to know about what is diabetes and how I might be able to handle. If you have any family member that has diabetes, you know that they basically need to know a lot about what to eat, how to behave, what are the things that they should be careful about. Otherwise, their diabetes would not be controlled, and they would have lots of problems and negative consequences in the future. And even there are specific associations that are just focused to diabetes education. So there are groups like American Association of Diabetes Educators, and they have resources, they have books, they have specific courses for people that provide specific education that is helpful and is important for the process of recovery in diabetes. And what they are talking about different things. That they talk about what are the different mechanistic aspects of a disease, what are the problems that people experience, what are the complications, how people can handle those things, what are the people are supposed to do, what are the things that people are supposed not to do. So there are many specific educations, okay? The question is, okay, going back to previous slide, we are talking about addiction as a brain disease. What are the educations that we provide for a person who is in recovery about brain? We just tell them addiction is a brain disease, but in reality, we do not talk very much about brain and how brain could recover from all the deficits that you have mentioned. You have mentioned about attention, memory, impulse control, judgment, thinking, all those problems. What are the specific educations and trainings and resources we provide for people who are in the addiction treatment? We think that, okay, if people would just be sober from using drugs, their brain would recover by itself. But in reality, this is not going to happen. The brain is not going to recover by itself. We know that the recovery would happen over time, but there are many people who would not experience a full recovery without other supports and resources, okay? The first question is there any lack of science that would contribute to this lack of education to the patients? I recently published 2 volumes on neuroscience for addiction medicine. In these 2 volumes, with something like 900 pages in 38 chapters, we discuss about what we know about addiction as a brain disease. And we know a lot. We know many things about addiction as a brain disease. There are many things that we still don't know, but we know that there are many things that we realized over the last 20 years about how addiction would change the brain and what are the things that we probably can do to help the brain. But in reality, so that the problem is not about science. The problem is that we do not communicate that science to those who are in the recovery. That is the major challenge that we have, okay? So we started a new term we call neuroscience informed psychoeducation, okay? So that is what we have started, and that is what we are going to discuss together. And there are other psychoeducation materials right now in the field of addiction, but this one is neuroscience informed. So we talk about, specifically talk about brain. What are the potential areas that might be interesting for those who are in recovery to know about their brain? Let's think that what are the questions that people might ask and would be interesting for them to know about their brain in the process of recovery? What are the questions that they might ask?
When am I going to feel normal?
Great question. What would be the roadmap of brain recovery? How long would it take to have my memory back? How long would it take to have my attention back? How long would it take to have my judgment back? The other questions. What are the other questions that people might ask?
Is it going to get better?
Is it, even going to get better or not? That is a serious question, right? What else? What are the questions that people might ask about their brain in the process of recovery?
Is it going to get better, and when is it going to get better?
Yeah, so is it going to get better, or when is, and what would be the timeline for that? What else people like to know?
Do I have to take medication?
Do I need a specific medication to help my brain? Great question. What else?
What's damaged?
What is specifically damaging my brain that I should be aware in the first step, and then think about how I might be able to help those damages? That's a great, great question. What else?
When I'll visit tomorrow to get better.
What are the things that I basically can use to make it better, to fix it? What are the things that are going to contribute? Is there any specific negative consequence for my kind of brain recovery by using the medication that I'm using right now? Is there a specific cognitive deficit or brain deficit made by medication that I'm using right now? What are the other questions? Let's think together about the questions that people might ask.
Is it reversible, or are
Is
these
it-
problems reversible?
Yeah, yeah. Do we have reversible challenges? Or what are the things that are reversible and what are the things that are not reversible? What else?
Cross-addiction, another addiction?
What about how, yeah, we can think about comorbidities, how brain deficits contribute to the comorbidities, or how my brain deficit would contribute to get involved in other addictions after being recovered from the current drug addiction that I'm already involved. Is there a chance that I can get involved in kind of gambling or other types of addictive behaviors after being recovered from drug addiction? Is there a specific brain deficit that would remain there or not? Okay, so there is a long list of different things. I'm not going to discuss about all those items, but for a few other examples. For example, what are the negative consequences of overdose? If I have experience of OD, what are the things that OD could kind of make damages inside my brain? What are the cognitive or brain deficits that could contribute to relapse? What are the things that make me vulnerable to relapse? What is the difference between stress-induced craving and cue-induced craving? What would be why my brain experience craving when I'm in the stressful condition? How I might be able to control that specific stress-induced craving? How mindfulness and a specific meditation could help my brain in the process of recovery? What would be the specific additional interventions that would be helpful? What are the specific lifestyle kind of educations that would be helpful for me in the process? So there are many interesting points that people would benefit by knowing about brain recovery. So these are the things that we are going to discuss about together. But we realize that we need something to make it more palatable, more engaging for people, because those concepts are not really easy. Probably our brain is the most complex machine that we have ever faced. And it's basically the most complex gift that we receive without any manual or guideline. If you buy a simple kitchenware, you receive a thick manual that would have lots of details, how to use it, how to kind of handle that. Even with the cameras that we are using right now in the class, you know that each of these cameras, what would be the thickness of the kind of the manuals that we have with these cameras? They are really thick. And you need to know many details about those cameras. But how our brain is processing different things, it's much more complex than a camera. But we receive the brain without that guideline. So we do not have any, we are supposed to learn about that in our life, with all our life experience. But the reality is that, at least myself, over time I'm realizing that I've not been using many of its options, and I've not been really informed about how it's working. So how we might be able to make it easier for people to understand? So we realize that we need cartoons. Why? Cartoons are attention grabbers. Cartoons are memory friendly. Cartoons are helpful to reframe complex concepts and are helpful for patients to see outside world from another view. So helping them to reframe their experiences. And cartoons could also act as something like a heuristic that would basically guide their decision. For example, when we show them a cartoon like this, what is the message?
He's pissed.
What is the problem of having anger? When you have anger, your brain is on fire.
Loss of control.
So you are basically burning your brain when you are in anger. So when you put yourself in rage, you should know that it is really detrimental for recovery, because it basically it literally puts your brain on fire. So if I really like my brain, and if I really like to keep it in the process of recovery, that is really detrimental for my brain. So one single cartoon, if this cartoon is going to be kind of written in our mind in a way that whenever we are getting angry, we just have a picture from this cartoon, that am I going to put my brain on fire? No. So let's cool down. So a simple cartoon could be helpful to transfer a message, and even build a heuristic in people's mind and bias their decision towards specific activities. And more, we think that cartoons could be designed in a way that people would find themselves in those cartoons. They could be something like avatars. They could make a feeling that, I'm not sure if you have played those games that you need to define an avatar for yourself, and then you select one of those characters as your own avatar. I'm not sure which avatar you like to have. But sometimes we just can feel that there could be an avatar for us outside and play instead of us in the game. So, for example, I'm going to show you a few cartoons. The quality of projector is not really good, but you can have an imagination. I have them in a better quality here, but yeah, probably that you can have kind of you can imagine that they are much better than what you can see here right now. But I'm going to show you a few characters, and think about your patients, or think about yourself, if you are you are female. Which character do you feel that your patient would relate more to it? 1, 2, 3. If you want to select one of these characters as something like, if your patients want to select one of these characters as their avatar, which one do they think that it's me? 1. Who is going to vote for 1? 1, 1, 2. Who is going to vote for? You need to vote for 1, 2, or 3. So we don't have any other option. 1, 1, 2, 1. Okay. Character 2. Who is going to vote for 2? 1 for 2. Okay. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So let's see another character. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, or 3.
Depends on my mood.
That is good. Right now, in your current mood.
2.
2, okay. Now you're revealing your mood, okay? 2. Richard.
1.
1. 3. 3.
2.
2. 2. 2. 3. 2. 3. 3. 2. 1. There is a conflict there, okay.
And I'll do 2.
2, okay. So we ran this study in a group of people, and we selected 2. And we made cartoons for 2. So we moved forward and we considered 2 in many different scenarios. I just kind of provided you with few of the drafts that we made in terms of how we can kind of make that specific character. And so we really like to have the character without a specific race. So we tried not to be white, black, Asian, so it's just kind of in the middle. And we try to consider color in a way that it would be in the middle. And then we made them colorful. So the quality of the colors are really good. So here you cannot see the real quality of the color. But the good thing is that we made them colorful, and we are using them in different kind of educational material. We are going to see some of these educational material together. And we realize that there are things that people, for example, we have been using this cartoon, and we realize that most of our patients, they really don't like it. Here in 12112, people really don't like it because they have been thinking the red nose, he has a red nose here. And they were thinking that, oh, red nose is really stigmatizing. I really don't like it. I really cannot feel myself in his shoes. And we changed that. And then people had much better responses. So we removed the red nose, we removed some of the kind of stigmatizing features, and people liked it more. We did almost the same for women characters. But the feedback that we have been receiving from many of the patients, most of them, they really do not have this level of experience as a family. So there's no family there like this. So we have been asking that, okay, what would be the thing that you would be able to put yourself in that scenario? They have been thinking Wonder Woman would be a better character because they can relate themselves more to that character. And then people of color, thinking that how it could work for people of color. So we have been thinking about how it's going to work. And then we developed a full package of cartoons and different educational materials. We ran a pilot study here in 12112 with few of you that have been kind of helping us for being able to run. What we do, we basically put people around the room, in a kind of group setting, and we use the materials and educational things. Oh, it's really kind of dark. Can you see that? Who is he? Oh, it's really hard to see from here, but he's Brad Collins. So just, and he's me. So probably if you can. Okay, so what we are going to do together is one part of that kind of educational program. We call it Brain Healing First Aid. And you already have version 4, okay? But I'm still kind of editing the version 4 for the version 5. So we are still in the process. So I already have a specific label here that is kind of is not to kind of confuse it with other versions that we have. Just putting my specific kind of notes inside. What are the things that, because we think that it should be exactly what people need and what people ask about. So we are revising that. We are going to receive your feedbacks for that as well. So what we have in the package, we have 3 parts in the package. One part would be related to your question that you have mentioned, that what are the deficits? What are the problems that I have? Because sometimes there are problems they don't know. There are problems that are making my life miserable. But in reality, I do not have a good understanding what is really happening inside my brain that made my life miserable. Excuse me. So that is the first part. The second part is about how my brain is going to recover. And what are the things that could help my brain in the process of recovery? Your question, you have been asking that. Okay, what are the things that I can do that could be helpful for the process of brain recovery? That was the second series of questions. And third, is there any specific exercises and activities that could be helpful in the process of recovery? So we have these 3 parts. And for each part, we have 10 modules. Okay? So we have 3 major parts, and for each part we have 10 modules. So we have 30 modules, okay, for 10 major brain functions, okay? And we use that based on the settings that we have most of the time in 4 sessions or 5 sessions. So it is designed to be used in your residential program once a week for something like 1 hour, once a week for 4 weeks. And it is designed in a way that you are not supposed, and patients are not supposed to start from the first module and go to the last module. If they join your group in the middle of the group, they can start from module 6 with you, going till module 10, and then going back and start from the first. So we design it in an open setup, open group setting, in a way that would be easier to run. Otherwise, people need to kind of wait till starting a new group altogether, and it's not practically doable. And that is what we have learned from you. We have, in the first step, we have designed it in a kind of consequential order, and it was not working, so we changed the process. Okay, so we are going to talk about 10 brain functions that are injured by drug use and how they are going to be important for the process of recovery. But we realize when we talk about these brain functions, for example, when we talk about attention, memory, sometimes people really do not have a really good idea about these brain functions. So we added specific exercises to each part to help people to get engaged in some sort of games to have a better understanding about those functions. Okay? So that is the philosophy of having these games. Okay, so we are going to start today from attention. Okay? And how we kind of run the session, we ask one of the clients, one of the patients, one of the, how do you kind of name your participants, to read, and then we will ask people to reflect their own experiences to the same story, okay? So, and we have a mic for you. That is something like a really serious studio. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so the first part, attention. So I'm going to ask you to listen carefully and then use the second page and write down what you think about narratives that others would use in the same context. What are the other narratives that you can add to what we already have from attention? What are the other things that you are going to share? Please.
Attention. I often experience the environmental triggers can produce an inability in me to control my desire to use my drug of preference, even when I do not want to use, because using is all I can think about. When this happens, I have very little ability to shift my focus to anything else. Even carrying on a conversation with someone is very difficult when I locked on the thinking about using. Multitasking of any kind is nearly impossible when I am pulled into thinking about drug use when driven by environmental cues.
Okay, now take your pens and write down another narrative in the same line. What will be narratives of other people with attention problems during drug use? What are the attention problems that people experience in their daily life? Even you can think about attention deficits that you experience in your daily life. What are the kind of experiences, personal experiences that you have that you think that are related to attention deficit?
Do you have a call?
I usually ask people to introduce themselves, and then I point people by their names. But today we have been trying to compress everything in just little amount of time that we have today. So my apologies for not asking your names, but I really like to learn your names. Hopefully can work together in the future. Okay, before asking you to read your narrative, let me kind of describe a few things about attention. First of all, a good analogy for attention is something like a spotlight that we have in a theatrical scene. The reality is that our brain would receive something like 10,000 input, 10,000 rows of information inside the brain. So we have the input, the information input inside our brain is huge. We receive let's think that we receive something like 10,000 pieces of information every second from the environment. But our brain cannot process more than something like 5% of the information. So from these 10,000 pieces of information, we can just process something like 500. So we need to select. There is no way that we can process all the information that we have. It's like a huge theatrical scene that there are many players that they are doing different things inside the scene, but we do not have enough light to show them all. We just have a limited amount of light, and we can make a spotlight and show a small percent of the scene, okay? That is called attention. So we just put the light of our brain to a small part of the information that we are receiving from environment. And that is what we do. We cannot process everything, okay? If we can get focused, can make our attention focused to an area, then we will have enough information to be able to process it correctly. And we will have enough information to be able to memorize it. So the first step for being able to learn something is to have enough information from it. And if we want to have enough information, we need to make our attention focused. Without focusing attention, learning would not happen, okay? So the first part of attention is focusing attention. But the next step of attention is called sustaining attention. Because it's not important to just focus it. We also need to be able to keep it in the same place. Because sometimes we just put the spotlight in one place, but it's just moving in different directions. And it's moving in different directions, we cannot collect enough information. So we need to, first of all, so we are talking about different types of attention, okay? By the end of the session, I'm going to ask you about the list of different types of attention that we have. We have focused attention, we have sustained attention. So when we have a focused attention for a while in a place, we call it sustained attention, okay? So we need focused and then sustained attention for learning. Otherwise, learning would not happen. And we have a specific pathway for making memory. And the pathway is that we have sensory inputs, we have attention, then we put information in the working memory, and then to long-term memory. So if somebody is not picked up by attention, there would not be a memory. So the first important lesson for anybody who likes to learn more is that without attention, you cannot learn anything. But There are many people who cannot sustain their attention on something for 10 minutes. And if you have a problem for that, learning would be totally impaired. So you are making lots of effort. You are behind the desk for 2 hours, but at the end of 2 hours, you don't have any memory because your attention is just wandering around and you do not wait enough to be able to collect and memorize the information, okay? So to start to kind of having an idea about attention, I'm going to ask you to do the first exercise. Would you read the first exercise?
Scan the below image with your eyes and try to find as many target pictures, the 3-leaf clovers, without marking anything on the paper. Write the total number that you find.
Please do not use your pens. Put your pens aside, okay? Use your eyes and try to find as many as 3-leaf clovers as you can. And tell me the number. 13. 14. 15. 15. 16. 12. 11. 13. Now take your pens and mark them with numbers from 1 to Okay, so you can see, I was just going to put you in a kind of situation to feel that a little bit of sustaining attention to something and trying to put your attention spotlight on something and move it across the page, okay? Now the second exercise.
For 5 minutes, try to find as many of the hidden items as you can and mark them.
It's not important to find all of them, but I just want to get sure that for 5 minutes, you would focus your attention without speaking with your friend, without doing anything else, and just try to be focused. So see if you can sustain your attention for 5 minutes.
Do you want us to circle them or?
Whatever you like. Just get focused and sustain your attention. Who has found all of them? How many have you found? 7, 5, 6, 5, 5. And it's really important. It's not important to find all of them. It's really struggling for me as well. When I want to solve them, it takes a lot of time for me as well. They are really hard. Why I'm asking you to do it? When you go to gym and you want to, for example, make your, let's say, arm muscles strong, okay? First of all, you need to know about muscles that you have in your arm, okay? You need to know that there is a biceps, there is a triceps, there is a brachialis, so there are different muscles in the arm, okay? So that is what we do in terms of there is an attention and there are different sorts of attention, okay? And then if you want to realize where is my, let's say, biceps muscle, you need to put a pressure and feel the biceps muscle. When you feel the biceps muscle, when you put a pressure, you can feel it. And then you can start, okay, that is the bicep muscle. If I want to empower my biceps muscle, I need to kind of put pressure on that. So you need to know where it is. And this is exactly what we want to do with those exercises. We want to let you know that what is attention. And sometimes people really don't know that it is attention. And they don't know if they want to increase their learning, they basically need to work on their attention. And they need to improve attention. And interestingly, I'm not sure if any of you have, when you do kind of specific physical trainings, there are different muscles in the brain, in the body. And some of them are more trainable than the others. So some of the muscles, if you work on them, they would just get enlarged really soon. And some of the muscles are not really easy to work on. And interestingly, one of the brain functions that is really trainable is attention. So if I want to invest my time of one of the brain functions to make it better, probably attention is one of the brain functions that could easily get better. And it could make lots of really positive things in other brain functions as well. Okay? So that is the key.
Interesting comment for me is I got more focused on I'm using black ink and I was losing what I had already found and going back to the same ones over and over.
Yeah, you can start to see individual differences. So we are not like each other. As we are not physically like each other, we are not kind of, from the brain side of view, we are not like each other. But the reality is, sometimes we really don't know that what would be the best thing for my brain, because we do not have, because the brain is in a box and we do not see what is happening inside. And sometimes we really don't know what are the differences. Okay, so let's go for a few other exercises. But I'm not going to do all the exercises right now because we do not have enough time. Let's just go back to what kind of the narratives that we have been discussing. And I would like to ask one of you to read the narrative that you wrote for attention. Now we have a better understanding about attention. If somebody has a problem in attention, what would be the problems that they face in their daily life? Would you read?
Yeah. The first one I put down was forgetting what's next on the schedule, where I'm supposed to be and when to be there, even if I was just told in the last 10 minutes.
So,
because I see something shiny on the way there.
Great. Awesome. One. Who else is interested to share and read something? Okay. Please. Daydreaming, just going to another world that we are not supposed to go when we are in the class, right? What else?
Hunger? I don't know. I think I may have misunderstood what you were, getting at, but Yeah, I was thinking on like food. If you're hungry, you can't focus.
Yeah, when you are in drug craving, you cannot focus your attention to do what is good for you. So that is true. When you are in a mode that you just feel drug craving, you just feel that my attention doesn't work. I just attend to anything that would be related to drug, and I cannot see anything else around myself. It is true. And that is true for food as well. So when we are hungry, we just feel that I'm just focused to find something and eat, and I do not realize what else is happening around me. What else?
I
Please.
might say I can't keep using off my mind. That's all I'm thinking about is using. I can't really focus on anything else.
Anything else? That's good.
Oh, I have trouble focusing on driving when I'm trying to find, like use MapQuest,
Mm-hmm.
figure out where I'm going.
Exactly. So,
Doing those two things.
and that's another level of attention that we call, so we have been thinking about focusing attention and then sustaining attention. But the next level would be flexible attention. How I can use that spotlight and go to different places. How can I kind of use my navigator, meanwhile getting sure I'm driving correctly and safely, or even when we go home and we are supposed to handle kids and kind of cook and do other things together, how when we are doing multitasking, we need to be able to shift our attention from one spot to the other and to the other, and being able to handle different things altogether. And that is another level. But it is not just wandering attention around. It's just really directing attention to what we need, and from point A to B, B to C, C to D, back to A, just getting sure that we are in control of our attention. That is
Multitasking.
Yeah, multitasking when we know that what we are doing. Sometimes we just do everything together without being really in control. But then we kind of actively controlling our attention. That is called shifting attention. So we discussed about focus attention, sustain attention, shifting attention. Okay? So let's do the exercise, exercise 4. Would you read that?
Here you are presented with a list of numbers written with different colors.
We are going to do it together, and we are going to see who is going to be able to do it as fast as possible. So it's a race. So we are going to see who is able to do it sooner than anybody else without any error. So be really careful. Keep your pens in your hands and be ready, please.
You should alternate between reporting whether the number is smaller or bigger than 10, S or B.
Or if it is equal to 10, just write E.
Okay. And reporting the color of the number by writing the first letter of the color, R for red, B for blue, G for green, or Y for yellow. The first few are done for you as an example.
Start. Good. Great. So, first of all, I ask you to do it as a race today to give you an idea about what you are going to experience in the group session. People are quite different. So some of them would be fast, some of them would be slower, and you can see the difference. And you can see that some people can get really frustrated because of not being able to do it exactly in the same pace with others. So we really want to make it engaging for people, but not frustrating. So if you do it every time as a race, and there are people who are always behind others, it would be frustrating for people. So because it's a tool in your hands, you want to keep people engaged, but you don't like to frustrate them. And you don't want to put too much pressure on them as well. So it's exactly like a specific physical activity. When you have a group of, for example, if all of us go to gym right now and start to do physical activity, we have different kind of physical capacities. We know we are different. So that will be exactly the case. So we are not going to do exactly the same things for everyone. And what we want to use from these exercises, the main idea is not about doing any sort of training. With 1-2 exercises, not going to make any training. We just want to give people an idea about what does attention mean. Can you keep focused on something and not get bored and use your phone or other things in the class? That is a major issue. That is there any chance that I can keep my attention on something for a while? That is the kind of the experience that, and if I have problems in other aspects of my life, or if I have problems in my learning, could that be because of lack of attention that they have? And that's the awareness that we want to provide people. That's what we want to use from the exercises, okay? So that was about attention. But let me just add a few other things to attention. When we talk about attention, why attention is a really important function compared to all other 9 cognitive functions that we are going to discuss in the package. Attention has a specific kind of implication for addiction treatment. Why? If you go to kind of treatment package like Matrix, I think that people here do not use Matrix model for addiction treatment, but you use kind of similar things. This is a kind of a figure from the Matrix workbook that you can find. We use that for MET users. Many things has been developed for MET users. But the idea of that we have triggers, we have thoughts, and if we don't use the thought stopping techniques, thoughts would continue, and then we have craving, and then we have addictive behaviors. That is what you basically teach to your clients, right? That is what this is one of the basic educations that you provide in your daily education. We talk about triggers, environmental triggers, we talk about thoughts, we talk about craving and addictive behavior, okay? And there are specific thought stopping techniques that you use to be able to help people to prevent craving, okay? That is kind of a pretty much old model, goes back to something like 20, 30 years ago. But what we know about addiction is that the model is more complex right now. We know that we have environmental triggers. This is environment. Environment is the trigger. It could be drug-related cues, or it could be emotional stress cues. That is environment. That is a trigger. Okay. So we have trigger at one end, and we have drug use at the other end. Okay. But what is happening in between is not just thought and craving. We know that what is happening between trigger and drug use, there are many other things that are happening in the middle. It is not just there is a thought, and thought would make a craving, and we need to stop the thought to prevent craving. It is more complex. Among these functions that we have in the middle, the first one is attention. A is attention. Okay? Then S is processing significance. We call saliency processing. First of all, we put attention to the drug-related cue or trigger. We process it, how much is important for me, what would be the consequence of attending to that. We have memories related to drug. Then we develop an internal state. That would be the feeling of craving. And we try to do controlling, and then we have drug use. These processes inside the brain, there are specific interventions that are designed to change these processes to prevent relapse. Okay? So right now, there are new models that are informed by neuroscience for craving prevention. We probably can have a 2-day workshop discussing about just this model that we are working on during the last 2-3 years for new craving management techniques. Okay? But this is not my target today. The major issue is that the first function among those brain functions that are involved in craving is attention. Okay? Why this is so important? If I can stop the process from here by controlling attention, basically those other steps would not happen. Okay? Let's see this video together.
Everybody knows about playing with dominoes. But what you may not know is that a domino can knock over another domino, which is about 1.5 times larger. What I have here is a chain of dominoes. Each one is 1.5 times larger than the previous one. And the smallest domino is about 5 millimeters high.
Just 5 millimeter high.
And I will carefully place it. And there are 13 dominoes. And the largest domino, it weighs about 100 pounds, and is more than 1 meter tall. If I had 29 dominoes, the last domino would be as tall as the Empire State Building.
It says that we have just 13 dominoes. If in the same way he puts the next dominoes, the 29th domino would be in the size of a state, kind of Empire State Building. So you can basically stop the first domino when it is here easily. But the last domino is really hard to stop. That is about attention. If we stop if you control attention in the first steps, it would be really easy to manage. But when we go to the next steps, it would get more complex to control. So that is the main reason that we think attention is really important brain function that we could handle and we could manage. Okay, so right now we discussed about one brain function, attention. Now people have a better idea about what attention means. Then we talk about one specific education. So you can go to the page, to the blue part of the book, page 70. In page 70, we have, so from here, we have 10 modules of a specific, so we usually kind of combine them. We talk about one brain function, and then we read one of these kind of things that people are supposed to do, and then we do another one. Please.
Commit to abstinence from intoxicants. Number 1, avoid. Avoid
Page 70. Yeah.
17 or 70?
70. 70. Oh, I'm sorry. 70. My bad accent. Sorry for that.
I was like 17.
70. Okay, please.
Avoid places where you used or drank. Any drug-related cue can activate processes in your brain that are harmful for its health. Number 2, break relationships with all using patterns. Your brain needs new healthy friends to be able to recover. And number 3, a firm commitment to total abstinence from any drug, including alcohol, legal or illegal. Your brain is very vulnerable to any intoxicant during recovery. Take care of it responsibly.
And we have enough space for people to discuss about, to write what they think about that, and what are the things that they are going to do, okay? And then we talk about specific exercises. So go to page 92. Please.
Attention. Do word exercises. Practice reverse spelling during daily conversations and spell the words you hear backwards in your mind. Example, apple could be ELPPA in your brain language. Number 2, be your present moment attention coach. You can practice controlling your attention and lessen your brain's tendency to wander during important tasks. Intentional, gentle, and internal messages such as focus on the task at hand or come back to the present moment can become a habit to bring you back into focus. And 3, train your brain to be flexible. Try to shift between 2 or more brain tasks as a daily exercise. For example, practice a Sudoku puzzle for 10 minutes and then shift to solving a crossword for 10 minutes and then return to the Sudoku again.
Okay, so this would give people an idea that your brain functions are trainable. And there are hopes for their recovery if you train them. And there are hopes for recovery and getting better if you do exercises. But you need to know what are the things that you are targeting with your exercise. And we realize over time that one single factor is the most important factor for brain recovery in the process that we are doing. And that is motivation. If they really want to do something for their brain, we want to give them a hope that there is a way for that. That is the single most important factor that contributes to their success. If they are really interested to have their brain function back, we just want to give them an idea that there are hopes. Just one single session of training would make a significant difference? No. But we know that if I go to gym today, tomorrow, next week, next month, it would make a change. So we know that it would make a change if I persistently do that. What we provide in just 4 sessions of psychoeducation for brain recovery for addiction is just an overview. and providing people with some insight about what are different brain functions that are involved in addiction, and what are the hopes, and there are specific hopes outside if they want to bring them back for the process of recovery. So, for example, what we discussed today for attention is going to be discussed in the class for something like 30 minutes, okay? But we developed another program, we call it Brain Gym. And in Brain Gym, we have 6 sessions, 90 minutes each, 90 each, that would be just focused to attention training. And there are specific homeworks that they are going to do. So if somebody is interested after doing the brain healing book, is getting interested to learn more, they can go to the next level. That would be 16 sessions of Brain Gym. And after doing 16 sessions of Brain Gym, if they're still interested, there are Brain Gym 2, Brain Gym 3, so they can follow the process. But in just 4 sessions, we know that 4 sessions is not going to revolutionize everything. We know that if in just 4 sessions we can give people an idea about what is really happening, that is more than enough. So we can start from other functions, starting from memory. Okay? Should we go back to memory? Page in the first module. Page 14, 1-4. Okay, so we do exactly the same. We read the text with people. We discuss about their personal experiences. We read another note from the second part, and then we kind of do the memory part. And then we also do exercises. So we do some specific memory-related exercises. So do you want to do one of the memory exercises? Let's try this one. Number 1, would you read that?
Look at the below pictures for 25 seconds and then turn to the next page.
Okay, look at that 25 seconds that you are going to kind of turn the page. So look at it carefully like this. Look at it carefully for 25 seconds and try to memorize it. I know it's really hard at something like 4 p.m. trying to memorize it when you start the day from 5 a.m. in the morning. But yeah, let's do our best. You know that as much as focused attention you can use here, the better memory you are making. Okay. Okay, now all turn to the other page and write down as many items as you can remember.
Just what they were, or the colors?
The word? Yeah, just the word.
Okay, genius.
I was really memorizing colors.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was thinking why people are looking at me. Now you can feel the pressure on your memory. Do you feel it? Do you feel the pressure? That is exactly what I like to have. I like people feeling the pressure on their memory. So now you have a better understanding about memory. We like to have the awareness about memory. What does memory mean, really? And then we do the next exercise and I highly recommend you to do all the exercises in your convenience, one by one, and carefully think about these brain functions yourself and see what are the things that are going to be important for yourself. So there are other exercises as well. I'm going to leave those exercises to you, and then specific memory trainings that you can do. And then about decision and control. So after memory, we talk about decision and control. And let's do one decision and control exercise. Go to page 22. Please.
Draw the arrows that match the direction of the red fish. For the blue fish, draw the arrow in the opposite direction. See the examples below and finish the rest as quickly as you can.
Stop.
Do them in order without skipping around.
Stop. Go ahead. Do it as soon as you can. You need to control. Okay, how is it?
Difficult.
My cognition is rapidly depleting.
Okay, so it is control. How much you can control your brain functions and being flexible. That is another level. So it is not being just focused. It's not just memorizing something. It's another level. You just need to not be agile and flexible and change to something else rapidly and quickly. Let's do another exercise, exercise 3. We are going to read exercise 3 together. We are going to read the color. We are going to read the color of the ink. Okay, we are not going to. So the first one would be green. So we are going to read together. Green, yellow,
Red, yellow, blue, blue, red, blue, green, 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 yellow, red, blue, green, yellow, green, red, yellow, green, red.
So it is not easy. Okay. Okay, so if you are going to be a USA team, you definitely would lose the game. So so you basically need to control a function and do another function, because when you see these words, you automatically want to do something, but you need to suppress that and do another action. So you need to inhibit something and do another action on top of that. And that inhibition, I just wanted to let you feel inhibition. And it's not easy, okay? So this is another level of control that you can, when you do these exercises, you can experience, okay? There are other exercises for that as well. And then specific trainings that we can improve our control and our decision making. Basically in brain gym, we have 3 whole sessions discussing about control, decision-making, flexibility, these functions. Okay, then movement and speech. There are specific exercises for movement and speech. There are specific exercises regarding brain-body connection. So we ask people to write down things related to brain-body connection. Let me just do one exercise from brain-body connection. Go to page 34. Write down the physical sensations that you would feel if you are exactly in the same situation. Write down physical sensations that you feel from your body when you are exactly in the same situation. What are the things that you experience from your body? Please write it down. How much our brain is connected to our body, how much we can put ourselves in a specific situation and feel all the things that are happening inside our body. How much this connection could help us to differentiate between different feelings and different emotions. How can I differentiate between fatigue, craving, sense of being rejected, being depressed, being abandoned, feeling anxious, being just simply tired. And if we want to differentiate these emotions and feelings and impulses, we need to have a good connection to our body. And we need to listen to our body. That is one of the important things that we discuss in the session, how we can have attention to our body. This is another level of attention, being able to read what is happening inside our body. It is called brain-body connection, or we call it interoception. That is a function that we are interested to. So that is another level. And we have specific exercises for that, for interoception and body-brain connection. And then arousal and sleep is another function that we discuss about, the specific things regarding to kind of sleep, how we can improve our sleep quality. And then feeling bad and feeling good. So if we want to control our feeling bad, and if we want to have a better feeling good, these are specific functions that we need to train. These are specific brain processes that we should control. Let me just ask you to do one last exercise for today. Go to page 46. And let's read those words, not the words, their ink color. Okay? The first one would be green. Yellow.
Red, yellow, blue, blue, red, blue, green, 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 yellow, red, blue, green, yellow, blue, green, red, yellow, green, red, blue, yellow, blue, red, green, yellow, blue, red.
Okay. So you can see there are people who have a specific attentional bias towards negative things. Those, when they read this list of words, they would be slow. Because those negative words, they grab their attention, and they reduce their speed. That is one of the other things that people experience. We call it negative attention. There are people who have negative attention. And if you have negative attention, in everything around you can find negative things. And that is a problematic brain function. And we need to train our negative attention and empower our positive attention. So there is another level that we train. We control the negative attention and we improve the positive attention to have better feeling. And it could also be related to drugs. So how we can improve that is another level that we have. And then we have things regarding the social cognition, how we interact with others. And then awareness and insight, how much we really know what is happening inside us. Okay, we call it insight. Okay, so we have specific kind of trainings for those issues. If you are interested, we have a specific article we discuss about the details of the program. We call it Neuroscience Informed Psychoeducation for Addiction Medicine. As I've mentioned, that we presented the package in last International Society for Addiction Medicine meeting in Abu Dhabi in United Arab Emirates. And from then it has been translated to 8 different languages. And people are using that across the world in different places. Yeah, we presented that with Brad Collins there from 12-1-12. Okay, so the last few slides. So we have posters. We have the brain healing book. We call it Neuroscience Informed Psychoeducation for 4 to 5 sessions. And we have brain gym that has 16 sessions. Okay? How we put them in the treatment programs that you are running right now. We think that posters could even be used before recovery. So we already use posters in different places. And even those who have not started recovery, when they see these posters and they can see that there are hopes for brain recovery, that could be motivating for them to start a treatment. So we can think about together how we might be able to mount these posters in places that people are using drugs, or people who are using drugs, they would, I mean, literally it could be anywhere. So we can mount them anywhere across the town and just give people a message that there are brain functions that are affected by drug use, but there are hopes. If you like to find those hopes, here we go. We have these resources. We do the brain healing in the early recovery and then brain gym in the next steps. What you already have here, so you have the residential setting. So what we are going to do, we are going to do the brain healing with Richard. We're discussing about the details of that. We are going to do that as a part of the residential program here in 12-on-12. Okay, for 4 weeks, 1 session per week. And then we have the brain gym that has 16 sessions. We are already recruiting for that. So if you have a patient that is interested to go to brain gym, we already recruit for that. And for this brain gym study, we do brain imaging before and after as well. So they can have a picture profile from their brain before going to gym, and then after going to gym, they can have another picture, seeing the difference. So that is the really exciting part of the process. And we think that it could be doable in other settings, for example, in hospitalized setting or in office-based program, like the outpatient program that you already have here for things like buprenorphine and other things. And then we have other materials, brain gym 2, brain gym 3, that could be used in an extended way. We think that we need to provide people with at least something like 1 year of material to help them to get engaged and be engaged with these exercises. And we realize that over time, when people start to do these exercises and get used to them, they really like to continue. And that is really, really good thing to do to improve their brain functions. How much is going to be effective? We don't know yet. We have done several studies before. There are positive hopes, but we are still exploring potentials. What are the people who make much more benefit than the others? We are still exploring. So this is just in the process of development and investigation. So I need to thank all those people who have been involved in development of this package. And just for the last minute, I just want you to go back and kind of see the pages that we have reviewed together. We have discuss about 10 brain functions. The first brain function is attention. So we discussed about attention, things that will be related to attention, okay? That was the first one. The second one would be memory. So we have discussed about memory, why memory is important, what are the different aspects of memory. The third one would be decision and control. So that is another level, decision and control. And then the fourth one would be movement and speech. How much agile I am, how much vocabulary resources I have, how much fluent and eloquent I am. Brain-body connection. Item 5. What is the next one? Arousal and sleep. Right. 6. Feeling bad, then feeling good, then social cognition, and then awareness and insight. So these 10 brain functions that we reviewed today and the material that you have for 4 sessions, they are enough to open the discussion about the brain. And we hope that is something that is not going to be used just for early recovery. Those people who are in the recovery, and everyone, literally everyone, even if we are in the recovery or we are working outside or we are brain researchers or those who are doing other types of jobs in their life, we all need our brain, because brain is probably the most important gift that we have in our life, and we are supposed to use it in a proper way. But the challenge that most of us, I mean, all of us, we don't quite know what are the things that we can get from our brain and how we can treat it in the right way. So I hope it would be helpful for all of us, and I hope that it would be kind of an opening to lots of really good things here in 12112 in another addiction treatment centers. Okay, thank you very much.